Hi Gemini, here's a general look at your solar chart for February 2012. Now every year at this time the Sun comes round to a part of your chart which is quite expansive, as a matter of fact. So you could be entering a more adventurous type vibration now, a vibration where you can explore, whether that's an inner world or an outer world. It just tends to encourage more opportunity for you to get beyond the usual mental box, that we're all in, and for much of the time, and gives you increased opportunities to perhaps escape from the daily grind. You may be drawn more to launch into some kind of enterprise or take an interest which is teaching you things you didn't know before. It could be that you just have more to do with somebody at a distance, that there's communications going on between you, discussions, correspondence, plans, ideas, maybe centered around your general life, your general direction, but actually that's probably more from mid-month onwards until mid-month, because of where your ruling planet Mercury is going to be. You'll be in the land of potential, perhaps more, or theory, perhaps more. The flavour will be that you have the urge to perhaps research or get more information under your belt, find out more, push the envelope of things, but find out more. Maybe some of you have more to do with the legal side of things at this time, have to be more aware of that. This energy could also manifest as finding ways to take you out of yourself, and just refresh your spirit. Mercury's in a very communicative sector until mid-month, so that means that some of you might be traveling, so that's communications, physical communications, but also mental communications. Like I say, you are developing an interest, or rather researching something which is kind of expanding your mind and giving you a broader view of something. Definitely a good time to be learning new stuff. Some of you having more contact with advisors, teachers, mentors, guides, so it's a good time to take a space for that, to sort of sit and listen, but also a good time to take a break, plan a holiday, plan something. It's almost as though you feel a certain potential, and it's a good time to sort of start putting out feelers to plan. Or maybe, if you're in education, receive the advice or teaching which gives you the piece of the puzzle that allows you to zoom out and see the bigger picture. And then from mid-month, discussions, correspondence, ideas, all that will be more practical, really, and centered more around actual concrete situations to do with life direction, but also presentation, maybe, image, career. You may feel that your ideas are being questioned or confirmed by those you look up to, the powers that be, an authority figure, but also looking into, again, maybe the legalities or the bureaucratic side of something. In general, you probably care more about the effect you're having on others at this time. You feel a bit scrutinized. Maybe you've got to show authority. Maybe you've got to show direction. Maybe you've got to be the advice giver. Maybe you've got to take your public responsibilities more seriously, or your responsibilities, or maybe your public sort of persona more seriously, if it's like that for you. And just put a lot more mental effort into communicating, dealing with paperwork, maybe on the phone more, or Skype or whatever, and just be more conscientious in that sort of way to get the result that you would like. Now, until the 8th, people in positions of power, people in position to sort of put their weight behind you and help you, will tend to see you in a good light. And you could feel as though you've got an ally in a powerful position, or an ally in somebody who is in a position to help you, possibly as a female energy, actually. somebody that may be invaluable to your success, or at least provides a bridge for you in some way, facilitates you in some way. Someone could play a supportive role to your making a move in the right direction, or helps you to create the right impression, or to ask the right questions, or to make the right decision, you see, and to make the move, at the right moment. Some of you could have a more positive interaction with parents or guardians as well at this time, particularly the female parent, but it doesn't preclude the other one. And then from the 8th, this is a good time for making friends or new associations, or for teaming up with a group. Could be a small group or a large group, but sort of like with kindred spirits who've got an aim in common. That can be in person, over the wires. You're likely to be burning up the wires, as a matter of fact, with a lot of communicating anyway. Venus is in a very sociable mood here. She works well from this area. Means that you feel support coming from those in the group, coming from a friend, making a new friend, or being the friend to somebody and being the support there. A real sort of pooling of goodwill is possible with Venus here. You could be making, as I say, new connections, but old connections and old friendships could be revisited as well. Friendships and groups are likely to facilitate positive experiences for you, some of which may be lucrative, or at least open the door to useful material resources for you. Tiny little ones or huge ones, it can be. Now, Mars is at the root of your chart for several months to come. This is a very unusual transit for Mars. Going to be there until July. That means you're likely to be more of a demand on you, or busier than usual, getting organized in and around a base of operations, wherever that is, with more demands on you physically, working harder there sometimes. Not every day, not all the time, but at moments, the actual physical putting it back into it. This may be centered around property, a living space, a working space. It may be related to family or tribe, extended family within a neighborhood, or over the wires, and that sort of community and neighborhood over the wires as well. Now, having said that, this month and until April, Mars is going to be going retrograde, and it may mean that it takes longer to get things done, or to sort of be clear about things, to get the inner needs and your intuitive knowing and sort of like feeling to align with the circumstances in your external life. Sort of like, put something on the wish list and just keep working towards it, sort of thing. So you've got to keep working on it over February and March. But you may feel as though you're making huge efforts for little reward. But just keep on trying to set the foundations in place, whether those are inner emotional foundations and who you're anchored with, or outer ones and where you're anchored sort of geographically, or both. It's a little bit like, the salmon swimming upstream and working so hard, and the route is peppered with dangers and distractions, but it knows it's got to get there. Then, as I say, that's over the February, March time. It might be a bit like that for you, I might be overstating it here. But then from April, you should be in no doubt what your inner priorities are, and you want to get things sorted out on basic levels. There's some clarity, you can make decisions, you can connect the future, and honour the past, and honour yourself within, and do it in a balanced kind of a way. Overall, Mars here until July could mean there's a lot more hustle and bustle going on around you, on the home base, increasing demands on your ability to get and keep your house in order, whether that's inwardly or outwardly. and there may be some moments of tension because Mars is a bit feisty and it's a bit argumentative. And this transit tends to trigger memories from the past, also your patterns rooted in the past, your expectations from the past, which perhaps some of them are no longer relevant, but sometimes we just carry on doing something and we don't realise we're still doing it. Have you ever been walking around with something in your hand and doing something with the other hand, and then you look at that hand and you think, what have I been carrying that around with me for? It might be a little bit like that. Yes. So, now, I usually speak about the slower moving planets, but I'm trying to make things shorter for you all. And so, I'm just going to mention Neptune. Since 1998, Neptune has been making its influence felt in the area of bigger horizons, or how you escape from your usual box. So academically, you could have broadened your horizons tremendously. You could have been this student, who was sort of inhabiting this amazing world, which maybe there was something about that you were very idealistic about. This is also where you may have been the most illogical or starry-eyed about teachers, about places of education, about foreigners, about travel, about certain places abroad, about things which are spiritual, and just idolizing, perhaps a little bit illogically, things sort of like in that area there, but also being very much available for others as teacher and mentor and guide and maybe sage, Well, anyway, Neptune completes its transit of this area on February the 4th and moves into its home sign Pisces for several years. Now, for you Gemini, that's a really important one, because it will then mean that you'll have to lay aside your own desires in your career area or to do with your general life direction, because it puts Neptune right at the top of your solar chart in a very dominant position. It'll be sort of switching on and off over the years, because it's going to be there for a very, very long time, depending on where your other planets and your sun are. But this transit will be great of those of you involved in the arts, or in the entertainment industry, or in film, or in photography, or to do with spirituality, or acting, that's the arts, counselling, boating, anything to do with water, hospitality industry, healing, medicine, charities, anything which really serves the common good, because there's something a bit selfless about Neptune, particularly in the career area. So, it's not a vibration about grabbing everything I can for myself. It's non-ego. So, not as if you would, of course, but I'm just trying to give you the feeling of the vibration. And of course, it works very, very well with a number of other things as well. But that's just in a general sense. This vibration will support you. If you are willing to be a little bit more selfless, spur you to maybe, great success, as long as you are perhaps contributing and not wanting to get, stuff back. And then you can do really well. And of course, we all need to live, so you will get stuff back. But what I'm trying to say is the vibration of this is a little bit nebulous, a little bit ethereal. So if you've got something like that going on in your life, that sort of meets the criteria of Neptune up there. And sometimes you just have to become the invisible power behind the scenes or behind the throne with Neptune. Don't look for wonderful fame and appreciation and acknowledgement. However, having said that, a lot of people do get this with Neptune in that position, but it's for an image which isn't really themselves, because there's something about distorted perception with Neptune as well. So there's a lot of very, very famous people that came to rose to fame when Neptune was going over there, but it was almost like it was kind of a false image, really. But hey, you know, it might have been fine. So yes, it can work in various ways, and that is the main thing, I think, that is going on in February that I need to mention. If you want to find out what the other slower moving planets are doing, listen to the forecast I did for 2012, or just go to my website and read it. It'll all be written up there. And also you might like to listen to the forecast for your rising sign or your moon sign, and see if they make sense to you. And I will see you the next time.